We are just passing over Saudi Arabia in the Middle East. Beautiful day pass right now. And heading northeast up towards Central Asia, and then we'll work our way out the western part of the Himalayas there, and work our way all the way out over, looks like Japan, out into the Pacific for this particular pass. If you look closely in the video, you can see just a sliver of moon kind of halfway between the surface of the Earth and the window pane as we're flying at about 17,500 miles an hour around the planet. Getting pretty close to ISS. When we were in the night part of this orbit, we actually got to see ISS out the window, which was pretty neat to see it for the first time on this trip. Bob's panning the camera back now, just kind of taking a look at around the cabin just to see how things look after a cruise lived in Dragon for an evening. We last night, the way things went, we had our normal activation, got out of our suits, had some a little bit of dinner, then reconfigured the cabin for orbit ops. Did a couple other events, including the media event last night, and then we proceeded to get ready for bed, which in space takes a little bit longer than I think on planet Earth. We had to pull out sleeping bags and sleeping clothes and all those kinds of things. Got kind of cleaned up, and then we ended up sleeping just like we are right now, right in our chairs, which was actually a pretty comfortable night's sleep. One of the things we did yesterday was actually manually fly Crew Dragon for the first time, and I want to compliment the teams at Hawthorne. Just a spectacular job with the simulator, as the vehicle flew exactly like the simulators out in Hawthorne. So just want to thank the teams that did all the work on that particular training device, as well as all the modeling and the GNC. It really worked out well, and was a joy to fly. And I'm guessing it was the first time a space vehicle was flown with a touchscreen before. So we got that going for us. I'm going to hand the mic over to Bob.
Well, hello, folks. Welcome aboard the Dragon Capsule Endeavour. Doug and I had a good night's sleep last night. We were surprised, I think, at how well we actually slept aboard the vehicle. A little bit quieter than Space Shuttle, a little bit more, I guess, environmentally controlled. So we had didn't have CO2 pockets or things like that building up, giving us congestion, which was super awesome. He talked a little bit about the changing and going back and forth between our suits and our sleepwear and the clothes we're in now, and managing all those things. But we've managed to keep the ship pretty tidy at this point as we went through the night's activities and then got into our preparation for today. We did get our suits dried out, get them packed away into the black bags that are stowed in the outboard seats. You can, if you look closely, you can see we've got them strapped in with the regular straps that you'd use for riding into orbit, and then over against kind of that former window location, there is you can see Doug's sleep bag there next to his crew notebook, and so that's how we're keeping all of our laundry constrained floating all around today. Doug mentioned the manual flying and how well the simulator matched that. I'll tell you that for the ride uphill on Ascent, they just are never able to capture that at the simulator. And so I think Doug and I were talking about all the observations that we had all the way uphill. While it was an exciting ride, I think we got a couple of minor surprises just in terms of the way the vehicle is kind of moving and shaking and taking you into orbit. You can tell that it's fighting against the Earth as it makes its way into space, and that's just something a simulator can never truly simulate. We do have a friend on board with us. We introduced you to Trimmer yesterday when we did our little activity with the camera. Trimmer also had a good night's sleep. I know that both of our sons are pretty happy about that with their pet dinosaur making it into orbit and having a good night in zero gravity. We plan, once we get on board the space station, to reunite Trimmer with Earthy and plan to bring both of them back to Earth. I know that we'll get Trimmer through the safety brief and get all the education that's required so that we'll have a safe operation while we're on board the space station should anything come up that we need to be prepared for. I know that Trimmer's also looking forward to helping us out with EVA preparations, just in case we need to do a spacewalk, and so we're looking forward to that as well.
2 minutes until LOS.
Let's see, I think we'll go ahead and bring the camera out a little bit, and we'll show you what's going on underneath the seats on board the Dragon Capsule Endeavour. We've got quite a bit of cargo that we'll be taking to the space station. We've got some hard racks as well. The hard stowage that we have can also be swapped, these hard containers here, for powered cargo, which lets us bring back refrigerated things from the International Space Station. And if you're super lucky, we don't have that this time, but I bet you some crew will take ice cream to the International Space Station with those. That'll be exciting for those crews to get to have that. We do have some emergency equipment labeled in red, which is nice to have and easy to see, as well as the other stowage bags that we have down here as well. I don't know if you were watching closely during our strap-in and insertion on the pad, but we did have the seats rotate at one point. We were down in an easier configuration to ingress the vehicle in, so when we climbed aboard, the seats were rotated down, and after we were strapped in, they rotated up our activities. And so those seats will rotate again in preparation for splashdown when we eventually come home. So if any of you all know Uncle Kirk Shireman, as we call him, you could ask him when we're coming home and make sure that he starts having a plan for us.
Well, we appreciate you having them coming on board again with us on Endeavour, and enjoyed showing you around both inside and out. The next time we'll be on video for you, we'll hopefully be on board Chris Cass in just hours. So we appreciate you stopping by and from Endeavour.